wait for
This is the first time I've not
Disappointed
had
to
one.
see.
This is the first time I've ever had not had one. Yeah.
Well, we have plenty of times.
I mean, we have a quorum,
Right,
but we're not on one of the.
But if you recuse, right,
Yeah.
Himself.
Yes.
give us a couple more minutes.
We always have perfect attendance. Like,
Not going away.
it's very rare that somebody is.
Okay, all right.
Jane doesn't know that we're not coming.
You're gonna wait till
so
it's
she
done.
doesn't expect,
You look so sweet.
no, well,
Well, she emailed at 6 o'clock, so she's fairly ill, so.
I hope.
I'm not gonna have the germs. I would say we should probably start the meeting, because the first order of business is just to.
Yeah, I mean, I
Okay.
usually give like 3 minutes.
Okay.
Cause he usually is like
So
3.5 minutes.
forward at least, and then let these people,
Yeah.
they're the first ones on, nobody has to recuse for now, so we can get through those.
I understand. I would like to wait 1 more minute and then I
Okay.
can begin. He literally walks in at like 3.5 minutes after.
She's all done?
But he seemed like he was a little sick. He wasn't as active as usual. You know, he played more than much on the house. He's pretty good. Just a good kid.
Goof, you're the goof.
Yours?
I'm making funny faces at you.
Joel Connor, that's his favorite, Mark's on Wall Street.
You've got a little.
Likes it, both jobs actually.
What you told me about
To, close.
They're doing a lot of singing.
And Paul's over at.
Okay, I'm starting the meeting. So, okay, everybody, we're gonna go ahead and get started with the meeting, and just to make sure everyone's in the right place. This is the Historic Landmark Preservation Commission. We'll go around and introduce ourselves. I am Marissa Marvelli. I am the vice chair of the commission, and tonight I am the presiding chair of acting chair, because the chair, Mark Gornblatt, could not be here tonight.
I'm Kevin McAvoy. I'm going to be the acting secretary for tonight's meeting.
Thank you.
Julie Edelson Safford, Leslie Melvin.
And I'm Sue Kay, planning director.
Okay, I'll
Exits and.
keep going. And so identify the exits, as we are required to do. You go down the way you come up, and if there's an emergency, please do not take the elevator, take the steps. And if you need the bathroom, it's through the council chambers and on the right.
Or left.
Or left.
If you're not on the left. I never go that way, so I don't think of it. Please silence your cell phones. All conversations should be taken out of the room, and please respect the speakers. So the first 2 items of the meeting, one, I would like to amend the agenda as it was posted online publicly, to allow 2 additional business items, general business and discussion items that we had discussed at our February landmarks meeting, and those items will be 5 and 6 under discussion other business. So 5 is a lead agency letter for a seeker process regarding the Kingstonian. We'll discuss that. And 6 will be discussion of our participation in the Ulster County Historical Society Preservation Trades Expo on March 29th. That will be followed by the reorganizational discussion, budget overview, and discussion of the next meeting. Do I have a motion to, I'd like to move to approve the agenda as amended. Do I have a second?
I would wait until we get those points.
Well, typically, you would-
Let's take care of the items that are posted on the agenda first and go through them. And then if there is additional discussion, we can add that to the
No, actually,
agenda.
I'd like that to be I'd like to approve the agenda at the beginning of the meeting. I don't see an issue with that. So if my commission supports that, I'd like to move ahead with supporting the agenda as amended.
And this was on the public record last meeting, that these items would be discussed.
Okay,
And both items are time sensitive, so we can't wait another month and hope
Right.
that we have enough time at the end of the meeting.
well, the lead agency issue has already been resolved. I mean, that's something that the commission acted on previously.
Yes, but we haven't submitted an official letter.
There's nothing to submit a letter on because there's no
There.
official proposal yet because they haven't presented to the planning board.
That's
Correct.
actually, at the time that as my understanding of seeker review, at the time that a project is entered into seeker and a lead agency is being discussed, at that time, any identified involved agencies, which HRPC is an identified involved agency, we may at that time address any concerns or interests that we have as that involved agency to the lead agency as they move ahead with the determination of significance. So that's what that discussion tonight will be. It is not too late to submit that letter. They have 20 days from the time that they get declared lead agency to make a determination of significance.
But that determination has not been made yet. That determination will not be made until March 18th.
Exactly, which
And
is why we
then-
would like to, at any time before that happens, we can identify our interests and concerns in the project to the presumed lead agency, which in this case is the planning board, because no other agency has stepped up to ask to be lead agency.
Is there anything prepared that you've prepared
Oh,
for the
yes, we have-
commission to discuss or
Yes.
review?
Yes,
Okay, I have not seen it.
because it will be discussed. And that's what we propose to do at our February meeting, is that's what we intend to do.
Okay. I would suggest that the discussion be deferred until your next meeting then.
But we have 20 days from the day that the lead agency is declared. No other agency has declared.
No
To
other
be lead.
agency has declared, you're absolutely correct. And I expect that the planning board will make the declaration to act as lead agency at their March 18th meeting, and then call for a public hearing. And that would be the point that which would be in April. And that would be the time when you would then follow through with your opinions. So that would be at our next meeting.
I have
In
to
April.
respectfully disagree with that, because the seeker handbook says, number 3, under what is an involved agency, what are the responsibilities of an involved agency under seeker? Quote, depending on how an agency first becomes involved in an action, initial responsibilities will vary. Participation in the seeker process. A, coordinated review describes various involved agency roles and options in the coordination process. Questions 5, 6, and 7 in participation in seeker process. C, establishment of lead agency address lead agency establishment and responsibilities if an agency is the first one contacted by an applicant. Once the determination that an involved agency is not serving as lead or not proceeding alone with an uncoordinated review, that agency's responsibilities in a coordinated review are as follows. Before the lead agency has made determination of significance, all remaining involved agencies should, 1, make certain the lead agency understands the extent of the involved agency's jurisdiction, and 2, provide the lead agency with observations, concerns about the proposed actions and its potential environmental impact, so that the lead agency may consider them in making a determination of significance.
Correct. March 18th is when the planning board will determine whether or not, no one's opposed the planning board acting as lead agency.
But the way
So,
I am,
no, let me finish. We're going to make that determination, and then we're going to call for a public hearing. They're only declaring lead agency status. They are not declaring any other issue. So if you're opposing the planning board acting as lead agency, that's where,
it says at the time that you defer being lead agency is the time when you address any concerns that you may have. And so, yes,
But
technically
we're
we
going-
did at the last meeting, but we would have liked to do it at the last meeting, along with deferring lead agency role, addressing any concerns or interest that we have in the project. We did not do that at that time. We would like to do that today. The letter should request all involved agencies to state their interests and concerns regarding selection of the lead agency and potential impact of the overall action.
Is there any harm?
And that is based on the EAF Part 1 that we have received, and that is also based on a full presentation that we have received by the applicant in November.
Is there any harm in submitting this early, given that the timing of our meetings, and we definitely need this to be a public conversation?
it should be part of the public meeting of the planning board.
But we can't collectively give a we can't meet as a board and collectively give
Yes, you can.
Why wouldn't we, as we've done in the past, write our concerns in advance? And
I
be able
have
to
not seen
discuss them?
anything, so if something
an
has
open
been
forum.
prepared and circulated,
We will discuss it tonight, and that's what we had wanted to do last month. That's why we asked that the item be put on the agenda for our March meeting, so we could discuss it. So, and we'd like to stick with that plan. We also have another time-sensitive issue, which is our participation in the Ulster County Historical Society's Preservation Trade Expo, that's March 29th.
that's a whole nother issue, but, okay.
But I don't think we can act on that unless it's on the agenda, which the conversation at our last meeting, that's on the public record, intended to put both items on our agenda.
Dan?
I'm with you, but,
Okay.
I don't think it should be discussed prior to the planning board meeting. I don't think items should be discussed that were not on a publicly published agenda. I think that when items are discussed that are not on a publicly published agenda, you're depriving the public of, their rights under the open meetings law.
What is the protocol for putting things on the agenda?
That will be discussed later in the discussion of the reorganization of the committee under the auspices of the planning board. Agendas are supposed to be prepared through the department that is managing the commission. And that is what is going to be discussed later, what that protocol will be, and how items get added, and how they get posted to the website, so you are in compliance with the open meetings law.
So
Which
the
up until
open
this
meeting
point you
law
haven't.
does not discuss agendas and responsibility of setting the agenda. Furthermore, this was discussed at a public meeting in February. It's reflected in the meeting minutes. And it was requested specifically that those items be added to the agenda. I would request that, the commissions, that be honored for future agendas going forward. That we do have a say together what goes on the agenda. So, I'm going by what Seeker says, what Seeker protocol stipulates, that if you defer, if the involved agency does not want to be lead agency in a Seeker process, they still have the opportunity to address their concerns and interests in the review of that at the time that they defer lead agency role. That's what the Seeker handbook says, the 2019 Seeker handbook. So if we're going to follow the Seeker process, we want to, participate, as is stipulated here. So I'm kind of frustrated because we brought this up in February. So, well, let's put it aside for now. Well, just discussed at the end of the meeting, we've had with our other business. We have an open forum for public speaking. Anybody who has any general concerns or matters to address to our commission may do so at this time. I ask that you limit those comments to 2 minutes and introduce yourself and state your address. Do we have anybody who would like to speak?
Yeah, just following up, as Andre Cherwinski, 16 in Lane, just listening to the discussion on the item of the protocol, just curious sort of, until the future rules are decided for submitting items to the agenda, what is the current protocol? Because there's no vacuum, there's a protocol of sorts, right? So what is the current protocol?
The protocol is that items that are officially on the agenda, which are applications for action this evening, should be addressed. And pretty much that's
No, the
it.
question is, what's the current protocol for introducing items onto the agenda? If I understand.
Contact the planning department, and the planning department, which is the department that publishes, coordinates, and notices the press with regard to the agenda, will address that.
That's the new
And when
protocol.
you
That's the way it's always supposed to be done.
But I've been on this board for 2 years, and in
Yeah.
the past, we were able to state that we wanted to put something on the agenda for the next meeting, and if we had an agreement with the entire board that that would be ratified and put on the agenda, then that was honored, and it
And
would
there's a
happen.
reason why this commission has now been moved to the planning department, where it rightfully belongs, where the planning department can ensure that you follow proper procedure, not only under SECRA, but under the open meetings law. The fact that you didn't do it before is not a reason to continue to do it improperly.
So
We
the
did it
basis
properly.
is,
And this is not, public comment is not a discussion between, members of the public and either the board or anybody else. If you wish to make a comment, you can make a comment, okay, but,
Got it.
In the past,
Thank
we had the support of the Building Safety Division, and Lori would be here when we would talk about putting something on the agenda for a future month's meeting. That was honored, so when it was ratified by the entire board. So we have not
every board
officially
and
moved over
commission
to the
in the
planning
city,
board yet.
except this board, has been following a particular protocol with regard to setting the agenda, with regard to how the agenda works, with regard to publishing the agenda. And the reason this board is now under the auspices of the planning board is because this board needs to start following those rules as
We've
well.
always been following
Okay.
those rules.
We are trying to follow the secret rules to the letter, and it was our understanding that, working with the administrator of the program and the commission would be a collaborative effort, and that when things were brought up that needed to be discussed at a public meeting, that request would be honored. And that's what we hope going forward. If the administrator has an issue with one of those items being put on the agenda, then that should be discussed with the officers of the commission and not simply ignored. So, moving forward, we have to get through other business.
One question, how was this resolved? There was a motion to modify the agenda. The motion failed?
It was
Yes. Well, I don't.
No, the
there was
motion,
no-
I'm still putting the motion out there, it's not failed. We have to discuss it because I'm adhering to what the text says in seeker, and that's what we as a commission must do. So I move that we add to the agenda discussion of lead agency letter regarding seeker process for the Kingstonian. Do I have a second?
a second.
All those in favor?
Yeah, we can discuss it.
All right, it's added.
Could we also add the trade expo to the agenda?
Sorry, I meant to.
Yeah, that was in the original motion.
Right.
Do I have a second for that? All those in favor? Okay, unanimous. So we have agreed to amend the agenda with 2 additional items to go under discussion and other business. Also, I had opened up open forum for public speaking. Does anybody else have any public comments they'd like to make? 2 minutes? Okay, I will close the public speaking session. And first item of business is adoption of the meeting minutes from February. Jane had submitted some minor typos that have been corrected. I don't think they're even worth trying to find. Does anybody else have any comments or edits, amendments to make to the minutes? Okay, do I have a motion to adopt the meeting minutes?
We move to adopt the meeting minutes from February as amended.
Do I have a second? Okay. All those in favor? Okay. All right, new business.
Just as one note, that when amendments are made by any commission member, they should come through the planning department, because we are the administrative agency now. I've never seen Jane's comments, so I can't speak to them.
It was my
And
assumption
so
that you would
going
be
forward-
distributing the meeting minutes and they were not distributed, so I distributed them after I had already shared them with you. But the changes is literally like add one word, to be. Do you want me to try to find that?
No, I'm not gonna get that trivial today. But what I'm saying is, in the future, the minutes will come to our office and they will get distributed. They did get distributed with the meeting notice and the meeting agenda. So, I
They
know they went
weren't
out.
attached this month.
They were,
No,
They were not.
no, we have the
Yeah.
agenda and
Okay, so the minutes have been adopted. Moving on to new business. 14 West Union Street. You want to come and have a seat at the table?
Yeah, thank you.
I take it you're not Jenny.
No, I'm her daughter. On her behalf.
So, just to brief the commission, I had spoken with Jenny, your mom, in January. We have reviewed and approved other scope of work to this last year.
Year and a half, yeah.
can you tell me what it is that I'm signing?
everybody, every will sign next to your name down here and say yes, no. It's a decision document.
Okay.
Happens every time there's a motion that we agree on.
Okay. Is
We
this,
do that with
is,
HAC.
is this part of what will be presented about at?
Correct.
Could we?
This is a new right, it's
we-
it's a decision document that will go on record.
Okay.
So your signature will be there, you can check yes, no, or abstain, or recuse.
What we were ready just voted on. So you just put in what you were ready just voted
Okay.
I don't understand this.
So I had spoken with your mom in January, and she wanted to just make sure that she understood the commission decision or comment on the balcony from last year, and that her understanding was that when she came back with the balcony design, that the commission had at that time said it, simple is better because the building didn't historically have a balcony, so you don't want to create a false historical record. And then your mom asked about cable cords, and so just full discussion, I did have a conversation on the phone, and I thought, well, that does seem to be in line with what we had discussed at the fall hearing. So full disclosure there, I had a conversation with your mom, but we didn't say we would approve it. It sounded like it fit what we had talked about last year. So now, go for it.
Okay. So I don't know, I believe we sent the full copy to the office. The building is, the original structure had a wood deck and then iron railings, and it was rotted and dangerous. So it's down now. They've already put the two pieces that will hold up the deck of the balcony, but nothing else is constructed, nothing else has been built. So we're just waiting for the approval. This is a picture of the building when they first bought it. And so this is the picture of it now in the corner. There's nothing there, and you can see. They're just replacing what was an existing balcony. The plan for the deck is to be wood. And then the railing system that we've chosen, the idea is to make it as simple and straightforward as we could find, and sturdy, and safe. So this is a metal railing, and then it'll have the cables that are, you can pretty much see through them, so you'll just see the brick, and then the line of the railing, which will be the top rail, which will be, it's made of wood, but that's the plan. We're not changing the size, we're just replacing the top.
Is there a drawing of this in place, or all I see is a system and a...
There's a structural engineering drawing.
Okay.
Alan, did you get that on, I had sent all the information around?
I'm sorry, I couldn't open anything.
It was-
Okay.
Yeah, I tried, I didn't.
Okay.
It's not the same exact dimensions, are they?
Yeah.
It's wider.
No.
Is there an elevation? This is a section. Is there an elevation view?
I don't know what that means. There's just the drawing of how it will be constructed, so how it will be held
How
up.
many uprights?
So that might explain, so this drawing had 4x4 posts, but the railing system is not a 4x4 post.
The railing system,
But the actual post and
Are
the-
metal.
Yeah, they're metal and what's the width, the dimensions of it? Because this says 4x4, but I don't think that's what you're
no,
implying.
I don't mean to lie.
Yeah.
Let me find it. I have to find the brochure. We haven't ordered them because we're not getting them approved, so they have, let's see.
I think it's at like 2.5 inches somewhere.
Yeah. I'm not finding
These
it on
are-
here.
Hold on, I found it somewhere. 1.5. What was it, 2.5?
Yeah, then I have all the other numbers from that. 1.5 inch.
1.5. So the post will be 1.5 inches square.
In what material? In wood or not?
No, these are metal posts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is a better picture, actually.
Yeah,
if you
it's
want to
color.
look at it. And I can look and see. They probably can change the design of the posts.
You're essentially, though, replacing what was there.
What was there?
You're just structurally enhancing it so that it's safe.
Yeah, and we can't, as you mentioned, there's no way to recreate the original balcony because it wasn't original to the building.
Yeah. So other questions I had about the drawing. This shows the platform on a three 2x6s. And so I guess this would be like a space and then the bracket.
Well, I think what's happening is because they've already put this bracket here. So I think they'll put a little space here to be able to put this deck over it, like a beam that will go across.
Okay.
That's my understanding.
So this
I'm
couldn't
not
go,
mentioning
this
it, but-
couldn't go directly onto the bracket to eliminate this. Because it just creates more of a profile when you raise it up 6
Right.
inches rather than just resting on the bracket.
This, again, I
Yeah.
don't know why you did it that way, I'm not an engineer, so I think that was the way that was safe.
And the woods, the actual decking would be wood?
Yeah.
Okay.
That will just like weather to that gray.
Yeah, we have also for decking, because it's not visible from the street, approved composite that can be a little bit more durable along, over time than wood, but
But this is visible from the street.
Hmm?
This is visible from the street.
Well, it's high.
Ask your question again?
I'm saying it is visible from the street. Are you saying that the
The decking
itself-
itself isn't really visible.
Don't they need a rider for the overhanging element?
Yes, that would be a condition of approval.
Is that an insurance
That
rider?
Huh?
An insurance rider?
It just basically gives the city as an additional insured, because it overhangs the public right of way.
Do you have a sense of the spacing for the cables? I don't know how many cables but there will be in this decking system?
It looks like 5, 4 or 5.
There's a code requirement, 4 inches max.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Architect.
Okay, somebody knows. I'm a substitute here, so I don't know. I'm doing my best, but,
Just to have this visualized.
So, Alan, you haven't said anything.
I still don't know what the spacing is of the uprights.
the spacing of the black bars.
How far apart are the
Yeah.
uprights?
They're usually 4 feet on center.
Yeah, I don't know, I think the contractor.
It would be nice to know what we're approving, that's all I'm getting.
Yeah,
I'm not
we might
saying
approve-
Right.
it's wrong, I'm just saying, what is it? Yeah.
Okay, well, it's whatever the code is for the building, so I don't know what's
How
required.
that in turn affects the aesthetics, it's all interconnected, that's the main point of this question.
So you can't approve it without knowing that this.
Oh, it would be nice to know,
I think
yeah.
I can probably look through the paperwork and figure it out.
And the only reason I ask is, we don't want to requirements, we want to anticipate what you're going to do.
All right, well, I can take a look here. and
I think you can, I mean, I think that the commission can approve as long as it meets building code.
No, I mean, it's not just code that we're concerned about, it's also impact on the existing resource. So it's code, I mean, we're not the building safety division, but we want to understand where the brackets, how the brackets will be spaced on the facade. So I guess, are the brackets going where they were before?
Well, there weren't, it was just like a ugly thing. It was, like this. So there was just
There are no brackets?
no brackets.
Okay.
So it just went all the way across, and then the pieces went up.
So it was
So in this
almost an
case-
unsafe
Yeah,
condition.
I don't think this is safe. If you were standing down here, I don't think you'd feel comfortable. So all we're saying is, all we want to do is there'll be one here, there'll be one here, and then probably however many is required for it to be safe.
Okay, so
I
the
think-
plan that was submitted shows 3 evenly spaced. I wasn't sure how that conformed with the openings, because there's a garage opening and a door opening below at the first floor. So I was wanting to, I think Alan's trying to understand too with,
Okay, so I think that this is just showing what is needed to make the balcony safe. And then this system is spacing them at these intervals.
oh, you're asking about the post.
The manufacturer has the
So-
requirement to provide something that meets building
Of
code.
course, of course, that's
But usually that's
understood.
visualized for us.
Yeah, and that's
so-
what
So we don't have to
this
get-
was, which I think,
These are,
Suzanne, can I ask you not to comment unless we have questions, like we as a commission, as a
Well,
body are
I
deliberating?
am the administrative body, so I will comment.
Okay.
And I will,
You can comment, but stating your opinions on it, something that we are trying to discuss is not
what I'm
helpful.
saying is that the information that was circulated
what's the space?
around to all of the commission members had this information in it.
Yes, but when we typically try to understand a new element, we need elevation drawings, plans, and section drawings. So we have kind of a plan, but we don't have an elevation to understand how the railing will look on the building.
Yeah,
I
the rendering would be
I consider it
helpful.
an incomplete submission, if you want to know the truth.
We
That's what
require
I
a
say.
render.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry, but I have to say that we've bent over backwards to really try to do our best with this building, and we wouldn't have put nothing up that looks ugly or that diminishes the character of the building.
We
We've spent
understand
a
that.
lot
We're
of
not-
money on
we're
this,
not-
and I
we're-
think it's unfair for you to say that we're doing an incomplete submission. I don't know how to do a complete submission, except for to give you all the different pieces that we're trying to do. I'm also doing this on behalf of my mom. So this is the best that we can do, and I really, if you give me the time, I'll try to figure out the space between the games right now. I just think it's unfair to shut us down.
We're not shutting down.
shutting down.
We're just trying to understand the project as best we can. Drawings, typically all the drawings help us. We don't have the drawings, so we're trying to
So the
understand.
stabilizer kit may be used with sections up to 6 feet between posts. This is, the system allows up to 6 feet
That's
between
fine,
posts.
but what do you select to be the spacing? That's all we're asking.
Yeah. My impression that we have to follow building code, and I don't know if this is a specification for buildings. So if you tell me what you want it to be, I think we can do that.
We do
haven't-
not design things for you.
Okay, so I
review
propose
what
4
you-
feet, let's say. I propose 4 feet.
Which is,
Kevin, yeah.
I think that's like just, it will look even,
Phase 4.
it's a 16-foot, I believe, if I'm thinking of it correctly, I propose 4 feet.
Okay.
Could-
The
could I-
length is 14, it's 14 feet long, so it's spaced 4 feet apart.
Yeah. Can I also add, part of the reason I'm asking this question is, we would like to see automatic default things like equal spacing, not just 4 feet, but equal, say, 5 equal panels or 4 equal panels. It's approximately 4 feet. So it's not just 4 feet.
Right.
So you understand where I'm coming
I
from?
propose
Yeah.
4 equal panels.
Okay.
Okay.
When it turns the corner, it would be nice if those 4 equal panels had something to do with the panel from the corner of the railing to the building. So when you see the whole thing from the corner, it all is aesthetically pleasing. That's all we're trying to get at.
I appreciate it. I mean, we're trying to do that genuinely.
Okay, good.
Okay, so 4 equal bays of
What's your total distance?
14 feet by 4 feet.
All right, okay.
So it's four,
So
one
if-
bay on the sides, 4 bays on the front.
Okay, 4 equal bays, 1 panel,
Yes.
1 panel,
Yes,
throw
I
it back
mean,
to the building.
I think that's doable. I think
Yeah.
we, and I don't think 4 or 5 is going to really break it for us. So I
No.
think I'm comfortable moving ahead, agreeing that it'll be 4 equal bays on the front. The cable will be cable cord for the railing itself, not the railing, but the, what do we call
I don't know
it?
what to call it.
The front of the railing,
Tension, cable grid,
yeah.
they call it.
And then those posts will attach to the fascia of the base, the deck platform.
Yeah.
So this system shows it as front facing,
Mhm.
like meaning it's attached on the outside or attached from the top. I'm assuming that you're going to do attach at the front.
Yes, because of the space.
Yeah, so it won't stop at the top of the deck, it will
It
extend
has to
down.
extend.
Okay. Okay, so then it goes back to the brackets underneath. It says here that they'll be spaced 7 feet apart.
They're already up, yeah.
They're already
They had
on
to
the
be up,
okay.
yeah, they had to be,
So they're not 7 feet, but,
they're right here.
yeah.
That's for sure.
Okay, I'm just gonna read that they're already on.
So the one goes with the garage door and then.
Yeah, I think we,
Do we, I wonder if it's better to do it so that it's aligned with those brackets?
they're already on the building, so we're just gonna leave that. Okay, so then the only other remaining question is this. So you're saying that this is a structural necessity?
Because that's from structural engineer.
Is that to bridge the gap between, so you have doors that come out onto the deck?
Yes.
And that's to raise the deck into a level that is comfortable.
And there's, these metal pieces go deep inside to the building, pull this part up, and this, or I'm sorry,
It needs to have
here,
something to
and
do
here
with it
they,
too.
yeah, have to have something.
Okay.
Is there a question about the brackets?
No, the brackets are here.
Okay.
They were saying about the space in between the beams. They said they would do 4 beams across.
To support the decking?
No, I mean, posts.
Post under it.
Okay. Sorry to do this.
So I just.
one.
Kind of
Just,
these
um,
speeds here.
deciding on that.
Yeah,
You know, that's fine.
Yeah.
I think we're settled, I think we're good on that. Any other questions from the commission?
Okay.
It will be black to match the windows.
So I guess I do have a question.
Sure.
Are you having just one upright at the corner, or are you having double
I
members?
think it has to be like that.
It has to be like this, okay. And your top, the drawing from the engineer was
Yeah.
cut off, it didn't show the
It
top.
doesn't show
raising.
top, it's just basically like a 2x4, or some kind of piece of wood that sits in the top of the metal. So that can be wood.
Okay.
The
it's
rail,
wood.
the railing
It's
top
wood,
is
not
wood.
metal.
It's not metal.
And your engineer is okay with that?
Yeah, because it's part of this railing system that they
Okay,
have,
all
so
right.
I can order, it's ordered specifically for these railings.
Yeah, okay.
It's close to that.
Okay.
Any other questions? Concerning? So, to clarify, there's no amendments to the proposal, just clarification that the front will be four bays or post,
Okay.
and the side will be one, because it's only 4 feet. And the brackets are already mounted on the building.
Yes.
Okay. Now, are there any other clarifications that I need to put in the motion?
I think it's gonna look nice.
Yeah, did you?
Oh, and then the posts themselves are an inch and a half thick,
Yeah.
inch and a half square.
Okay, I have a question. So if I find out that I need, that the posts, I don't need 4 posts tonight, how do I tell somebody if I only need to have 3, or if I go back to the system?
Okay,
Is there
would the commission
any
be okay with
flexibility?
us saying 4 to 5 bays of posts, or do you want it to be 4 bays?
I'm thinking even it would be fewer, and then there would be less bars. So I'm wondering if I can get them.
That's really hard to answer. See, what I was really hoping for was
Yeah.
we would see a drawing showing the uprights relative to the brackets. That's
Yeah.
part of the picture. So
Okay.
without that
Okay.
information, it's
Okay.
really hard to.
So then let's
say.
stick to the 4.
Well, then I'm not, I think some degree of flexibility might be okay. I'm just not sure how much.
So let's say 3 to 4 bays. I think if we can do 4, we can do 3.
Depending on the distance.
Exactly. It's all
14,
tied.
it's agreed that it's 14 feet.
Across.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're just trying to see how many beams across the front to show it. And so you can do 6 feet as the maximum.
Mhm.
So I said we'll do 4 across,
Okay.
and it's 14 feet here. But we may need, I'm just, I don't know, probably more sit down, more beam.
Right.
So-
So 3 or 4 would be great, but,
3 is better than 4.
whatever is
It's the
required, we're
cost.
prepared to
Right.
do.
Okay.
Can you
But I
just,
just-
can you give me just a minute to zoom in on?
I just need to be able to,
We just clarify that it'll be 3.5, if it's 4, not 4 feet, 3.5 feet is the equal.
Yeah. Right.
division there.
Yeah.
And
Is there a straight on?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Do 4?
Well, that makes sense, it's 3.5.
Yeah, to change
Don't-
it.
don't-
So you can
don't-
clarify
yeah.
that, if it's 3, 3.5, 4.
3, 3.5. Wait,
No,
If we
4,
do-
3.5.
If we do
4,
4,
3.5,
it's
okay.
3.5. That's fine. This is-
Okay.
That seems right.
I will look at that, so it's fine.
I think it's 4.
yeah.
So how many brackets are there? I mean,
3.
3.
3 brackets.
3 brackets,
And
yeah,
4 posts.
and 4 posts, yeah. And do you know the spacing between the brackets, or?
Yeah, I know.
7 feet.
Oh, got it,
They're not
okay.
equal.
They're not equal.
It's not equal,
Oh,
because there's a larger
awesome.
opening
I know,
there.
so
I
they're
see.
looking for symmetry.
It's exactly, I'm not gonna work it. That's what I'm trying to say, I don't know
Okay,
which is
all right,
better,
no,
so that's
no.
why
Yeah.
I hesitated, but let's just go for it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, good.
Okay, 14 is the door, got it. So-
Okay.
Probably 4, but maybe 3, I don't know.
Okay.
All right,
Appreciate
You can
that.
give a range.
Okay.
Do the range 3 to 4 bids. Okay, let's just do that.
Yeah.
You even.
There's the options.
I trust that you want
Okay,
it, don't to
thank
be
you.
uniform.
Yes. we'll look
Okay,
at it.
so, I move that the commission find as fact that the new balcony proposed for 14 West Union Street
Can I
in the
just-
Rondout Historic District.
You need to first declare that this is type 2 action under seeker, so you have to just make that motion first.
We do not need to do that. It is
just
listed
have
as
to-
a type 2 action that does not need to be
But you
declared.
need to recognize it as a commission, as a type 2 action.
We do not need to do that, Suzanne. I'm
We
sorry, I
should.
don't mean to be so oppositional tonight, but 617.5 type 2 actions or classes of actions identified in subdivision C of this section are not subject to review under this part, except as otherwise
I
provided in
understand
this
that.
section.
I understand that, but you need to recognize it, that it is, that's why you're not doing a seeker action. You need to recognize it as a type 2 action.
Those actions are automatically listed under this, so we do not need to recognize it. And let me further say that, so maintenance or repair involving no substantial changes to an existing structure or facility, replacement, rehabilitation, or reconstruction of a structure or facility, official acts of ministerial nature involving no exercise of discretion involving
I-
building permits and historic preservation permits.
I know the secret, you
Where,
don't have to read
okay,
it.
so I don't think we need
What I'm
to
saying
make a
is,
determination.
however, as an agency, you need to at least recognize that you agree that this is a type 2 action under seeker, which is why you are not making a seeker determination. That's all, it's very simple.
So just acknowledge it, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you're just acknowledging it.
I think it's redundant, but I will do it.
Okay?
But I think that's something where we will continue to discuss. I'd like to discuss with the Corporation Council at another point the necessity of making such a statement. I have not seen other historic preservation commissions in the state do that. So I move that we find that this action is a type 2 action. Do I have a second?
Yeah. Sorry.
All those in favor? Okay. I move that this commission find as fact that the new balcony proposed for 14 West Union Street in the Rondout Historic District by the applicant and owner, Virginia Holberts, if installed according to the plans reviewed at this meeting, according to the procedures stipulated in Chapter 405, Section 64 of the City of Kingston's Administrative Code, is compatible with the character of the building for the following reasons. That this proposal is replacing an existing balcony that has been a distinguishing feature of the building for at least 40 years. That this building has been heavily altered over the years for commercial and residential purposes, and its original historic appearance is not known. That the existing balcony was in dilapidated condition due to its poor construction and therefore necessitating its replacement. That the design of the balcony will replicate its size and replacement of the existing balcony, that being 4 feet by 4 feet deep. by 14 feet long. That the design of the new balcony is understated and that it will not create a false historical appearance. That the detailed drawing submitted with the application it will be amended to show a metal cable and 1.5 square post rather than the 4-foot post that's shown in the drawing. That such system will have a minimum profile and not detract from the humble character of the brick building. That the balcony decking will be wood. That the balcony will be supported on 3 brackets that are already installed on the building. That any changes, that the railing system itself on the front of the building will be 3 to 4 bays wide and 1 bay deep. That the post will be fascia mounted, and that the metal elements of the railing system will be powder coated black, and the hand railing itself will be wood.
Marissa, can I suggest adding
One
one
item.
word of 4 equal bays?
4 equal
Equal,
bays.
yeah.
4 equal bays of
Okay.
post on the front. That any changes or deviations from what has been discussed at this hearing will be subject to review by our commission before such work is carried out, and that this commission's approval does not obviate the need for a building permit from the City of Kingston's Building Safety Division or an insurance writer. Do I have a second on
Do
findings
you
of
need
that?
insurance?
Hmm?
Insurance?
In city
Insurance.
insurance.
Do you have the insurance rider in there?
Yes. Do I have a second on that motion? Okay, Julie seconds. Based on the preceding findings of fact, I move that this commission grant a preservation notice of action to the Holberts for the balcony proposal with the drawing amended on this day, March 7th, 2019. Such notice to be subject to the conditions contained in the previous motion. All those in favor? All those opposed? Okay, thank you. Okay, so,
Tense moment for a second.
Yeah, we're gonna have to bring Bodie back in.
Maybe. Some tricks.
All right.